Hey everybody, and welcome back to Super Comic Fun Time. This is my first new comic day broadcast in quite a while, so I'm going to go through the books I picked up today, and then I'm going to play a little bit of catch up. And I put every book I talk about and might talk about down in the description below. Along, if you want to support this channel, please use my Amazon affiliates link, and let's get started. So I've noticed myself buying mostly DC books lately, and today it was an all DC day. So Flash 57 came out, and I've really been enjoying the Flash. They're doing this whole thing with the different forces, you know, after the Flash War, the Speed Force and what. Of course, I haven't really looked at it, so here's just a random inside shot. Looks kind of cool. Don't know what's going on there. Could be a spoiler. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this, and I'm sure I'm going to keep enjoying it. It's just like it's been really good so far, even when it has like some cringy moments. I still keep going. You know, it's like usually a minor thing that doesn't bother me that much. And of course, I picked up this cover, and you know, they have both this and the variants. Usually, I've been picking up the variants, but in the case of the Flash, I liked this one better. Sometimes I like both of them, but I'm not going to pick up both covers. Next on the docket, I'm taking a bit of a risk with this one. It's Old Lady Harley, #1. I don't know anything about it. I have no idea what the story's going to be. I don't know if it's a parody of Marvel's Old Man Logan. I'm just going to see what it's like. This is the variant cover. The other one is kind of gross. It's like this skeleton with blood over it. So I kind of like this one better. So I went with this cover on this one. Again, I don't know anything about it. I don't know if I'll be following it. Here's a random page, the page with the titles. So it's The Good, the Bad, and the Old. And I guess I should be telling you who the writers are. So for Flash, we have Williamson, Collins, and Guerrero. Wrote this one. I'm just going to go by the names on the book. It's like, you know, when I'm reading a book like The Flash, I'm not thinking about who's written it. I'm really liking it for the character. And I've been like kind of dividing in my mind. It's like, you know, if I'm reading the Sandman universe, well, a lot of that's inspired by Neil Gaiman. So even though these books are being written by other creators, it feels like Neil Gaiman to me. So this is by Frank Terry. Who else? Miranda, Inaki Miranda, Eva de la Cruz. So those are the three credited on the cover. And so, oh yeah, I just noticed this. She's got this little dog there, and it's got like these wheels. It's almost, it's probably a play on the Slinky dog. If, you know, back before we had video games and stuff, we had real toys to play with, and one was a Slinky dog. And a Slinky was this kind of wire thing, which was basically, it came out of like industry. This guy, like, he noticed people playing with him at work, I guess, and he kind of modified it to be safe to play with for children to play with, and he took it home, and I guess his kids liked it, and then he went to try to fund it, and I think there were some problems. So yeah, again, I don't know too much about this one. So yeah, it does look sort of like Road Warrior-esque, which I never read Old Man Logan, so I don't know if that's what it's like, but hopefully it's good. And then a new book I've been reading recently, and it's all because of Justice League Dark and the Witching. Is it called The Witching or The Witching Hour? Anyways, Wonder Woman #57. So I started reading Wonder Woman with 56, and I think I'm going to just stick with it for this story. I've been loving this crossover. Yeah, so this is The Witching Hour Part 4. I mean, look at how that shows up on the camera. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, I've read all of the tie-ins, all of the books. It's really good. And so we have Tinian the Fourth, Lupacino, and McCarthy and Forjado Jr. are the ones credited on the cover. Oh, look at that. That's kind of cool. Bad Habits. Is she smoking? I can't tell. But yeah, so So I've really been enjoying this whole witching hour thing, which came out of Justice League Dark. I'm a little surprised because I remember a few weeks ago, you know, maybe a month ago now, Flash had Justice League Dark in there for like a panel or two. And it, you know, I don't know why. I was so excited because I think Justice League Dark #2 or #3 came out that day. And I'm like, well, should I read one first? It turns out it didn't matter. I turned off the follow my face feature because that was driving me a little crazy. So yeah. And then I picked up Justice League Odyssey 2. This is one of the ones that have come out with the foil cover. You know, I can't really say that the cover would be the reason I picked it. I really like Justice League Odyssey 1. The #1 came out the same week as the Heroes in Crisis, and I think this was the superior story. It has the same thing with getting the gang back together, but it was done in a really good way. Like a lot of the other books I've read, like the Terrifics and I can't even remember, was it The Unexpected? They all have this thing of getting the band together, and usually it's kind of ham-fisted, and if it goes, you know, I've already lost interest by the time issue 2 comes out. So, you know, the exception to that is Justice League Dark. It was a little bit better, but it was still the whole thing. This, you know, this #1 of this, it was like, you know, it didn't seem as forced. It just seemed like, you know, the Green Lantern, I forget her name. She's not one I'm familiar with very much, but she was out on patrol. And then some members of the Justice League had stolen a ship and they were headed for the Phantom Zone or the Forbidden Zone or someplace in space you're not supposed to go. So she like chases after them. And it was just really cool how they got together. And then, you know, you had Cyborg was in that one, and Darkseid was in that one. Yeah, I'm seeing the images in my head, but you know, it's been a month or so since I read it. So yeah, here's a random look inside this one. That just looks like that's just a page I opened at random. So here we have Darkseid and whatnot. So yeah, I really enjoyed the first issue. I hope this one continues to be good. And so the only other thing is I think there was another Sandman universe that came out today, and I didn't get it on my list, so I didn't get it. I didn't see it on the shelf either. It's possible they sold out already. Was it called The Magic? I can't remember, but it looked like it had a Harry Potter type character on it. And I've been enjoying the books I've read of the Sandman universe. They've all been really, really good. In fact, like I guess I can use that as a segue. So next we're going to go into what I read today. And today I read Lucifer #1, which this is the darkest one of the Sandman universe I've read so far. It has things like gouged out eyes and stuff like that. Yeah, I you know, it also still has that kind of Gaiman-esque feel. This is written by Dan Waters, Maxx Fiumara, Sebastian Fiumara, and Dave McCraig. So yeah, you know, that's a bit blasphemous, I guess. It's like, I don't necessarily, you know, I'm not religious. I was raised Catholic. And I can kind of see from a certain perspective, God versus the devil thing, but this is kind of like more of a, you know, an in-your-face type of portrayal of Lucifer. But it does have some interesting things going on here. It's, you know, Lucifer still has some followers, I guess. I don't know anything about the comic book character. Haven't seen the TV show it's based on, but I did enjoy this. And then we have like a recitation of when Michael defeats Lucifer. We don't actually see it, but you do have some pretty good artwork in here. I really enjoyed this book. I'll probably continue with it for a little while at least, until I decide I just absolutely have to give up New Comic Book Day and read some of the stuff I've got lying around the house that I haven't got to yet. Also today I read Venom Annual #1. Now, this is the first really weak Venom book I've read since I started reading Venom. It's okay. It feels like a filler, and maybe that's the purpose of annuals. I just remember I grew up I haven't really read an annual since like the X-Men annual or Fantastic Four annual back in the 80s. And they just were amazing. So, like, and this is just like a bunch of people sitting around in a bar telling Venom stories. And, so you get these little vignettes and, you get these, I guess this is like a bar where bad guys meet. And it was okay. It wasn't great. Probably my favorite was right at the beginning is you have Felicia, what's her name, the Black Cat. That was one of the better stories in here, but at the same time, it's filler. It doesn't tie into the current Venom run. I think I mentioned it when I did my Chuck Dixon retrospective earlier this week that I had read Venom 7, and it was like taking up after the god, the god of the symbiotes. Here's an honorable mention. I don't know if I will ever finish reading this. This is, I really like the idea of it. I'm not sure about the execution. I read Cerebus back in the day, or is it Cerebus? And, this is mostly just kind of like, first of all, it's like you have to read it like this, like you've got that, you've got that. So like it's a personal preference for me. I don't want to have to like switch around like that. And then like a lot of the artwork is just kind of like the same thing, panel after panel. And I got about 4 pages in. It was humorous, but I don't know if I'm going to finish this book. And I did skip ahead to see if the panels ever do change, and they do, but they're all like, I mean, the pictures all look the same and whatnot. So, when I was reading Cerebus, they seemed like real stories. I thought this would be a real story. Maybe it is. But yeah, that's kind of on the side for now. And then since I'm behind, I read these like in the last few days. First up, let's go with Batman and the Maxx in Arkham Dreams. This one was kind of a strange book. I don't know who the Maxx is. You can see there's a lot of white, so I think, here we go. Here, this might be, you have this more underground style of drawing. It's very stylized. I enjoyed the story, but it wasn't, I don't know if I'm going to continue with this one. It was fun enough, but I don't know, and I kind of like the artwork. It's nice for change of pace. The basic story is the Maxx. There's like something called the Outback, and it's kind of like a part of the brain or part of the mind, like something like the subconscious mind. I do like if you look at Batman, see, I don't know if it's going to show up here. Like, I really like his bat symbol. Looks like kind of like a fish skeleton, and yeah, I did enjoy the stylization of the art. The story was okay, but it's kind of like the dreaming in a way. The books where the Sandman has gone missing and the dreaming is like being torn apart and all these changes are coming to it. And that's what this kind of reminds me of. And you have this doctor in Arkham Asylum, you have the Penguin there. And, it was entertaining enough. And I might continue with it. I might not. It depends. Then we have the dreaming. This one was a little, had a little political commentary because the pumpkin is sort of like, these things called blanks are invading the dreaming realm, and they're just kind of letting them in. And all this pumpkin head guy does is complain about it. And I think he's supposed to be like, and he's orange too, so maybe he's supposed to be Trump. I don't know. But this, overall, the story was pretty good. I've been following all of these Sandman Universe books since they've come out. The only one I didn't get was the one that came out today so far, and I'll try to get that next week maybe. And it was, I enjoyed the story, it was pretty good. You have Abel and Kane. Yesterday, I took some time off, and I got my big fat omnibus of House of Secrets. That's the one with Abel, and I read an issue of that last night because it's getting into the Halloween spirit. So yeah, overall this book was fun, but it's also like sprawling. Like the main story is Jack Pumpkinhead doesn't like what's happening in the dreaming. He loses all of his mates because he's too busy complaining instead of like helping with a cascading dream. Oh, here it is, Books of Magic. I think this is the one that came out today, but I don't remember seeing it on the shelf, so maybe they sold out already. But I'll either order it or try to otherwise get it. But yeah, this, I really like the dream world. I mean, sometimes it messes with my mind while I'm reading it, but I think that's why I'm reading it. So that's probably a good thing. And finally was the last issue of Justice League Dark #4. I think this came out last week. And this, of course, continues the Witching Hour. And very fun story, very fun. Normally, I would like wait for this to come out. And, you know, like I say, I might have to give up reading new comic book stories. But yeah, you know, the basic story is there's something wrong with magic, which I read like about half of the Doctor Strange run from 2015, I think it was, when the, you know, magic was kind of failing. And I guess, didn't they do that again? Like, I think I got a recent issue 1 of Doctor Strange, and he didn't have any powers, and he went off to another planet or something, and it felt a little bit like World War Hulk. And then I never got another issue of that. Right now, I am really happy with DC books, and that's mostly what I'm reading. So anyways, what did you get this new comic book day? Are you into DC like I am? Are there Marvel books I'm missing? Are there independent ones? I was kind of interested in getting an Elvira since it's almost Halloween. I think an Elvira book came out today, but you know, money is always an issue, so we get what we can get. We get what we think we're going to enjoy the most and will be most interesting for our viewers. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. You know, check down in the description for the books I talked about today. If you want to support the channel, I have my my Amazon affiliate links. And you know, once this video is done being live, write in the comments what you picked up today, and I will talk to you soon. Super Comic Fun Time out.